Discipline. What it is, why it matters, and how to build it. A 2-hour Empower audiobook. It's narrated by Empower Audio. Take a deep breath in and let it go. Before we talk about discipline, let's clear something up. Discipline is not punishment. It is not forcing yourself to suffer. It is not waking up at 5 in the morning just to prove something. Discipline is not harshness, rigidity, or self-control rooted in shame. Discipline is devotion. It is the quiet decision to show up for yourself again and again, even when no one is watching, even when motivation fades, even when it would be easier not to. Most people misunderstand discipline because they confuse it with motivation. Motivation is emotional. It comes and goes. It rises when things feel exciting and disappears when things feel boring, uncomfortable, or uncertain. Discipline is not emotional. Discipline is structural. It does not depend on how you feel today. It depends on what you have decided matters. Discipline is the ability to keep promises to yourself. Small promises, simple promises, the kind that do not look impressive from the outside but quietly change your life over time. When you break promises to yourself repeatedly, confidence erodes. Not because you are weak, but because your nervous system learns that your word to yourself cannot be trusted. Discipline restores that trust. Discipline is not about doing everything. It is about doing the right things consistently. Most people fail at discipline because they try to change everything at once. They aim for perfection instead of reliability. True discipline grows from simplicity. One habit, one commitment, one non-negotiable. Ask yourself this: what is one thing that, if you did it consistently, would make your life noticeably better in 6 months? Not 10 things, not a dramatic overhaul. One thing. That is where discipline begins. Discipline matters because life does not reward intention. Life rewards follow-through. You can want confidence, health, peace, financial stability, or freedom, but without discipline, those wants remain wishes. Discipline turns desire into reality. It is the difference between knowing what to do and actually doing it. Many people avoid discipline because they associate it with restriction, but real discipline creates freedom. When you are disciplined with your time, you have more time. When you are disciplined with your money, you experience less stress. When you are disciplined with your health, your body supports you instead of fighting you. Discipline removes chaos. Chaos is exhausting. Discipline also protects you from your future self. The version of you who is tired, distracted, overwhelmed, or tempted to take the easy way out. Discipline is a system you build when you are clear, so that you do not have to rely on willpower when you are not. One of the biggest myths about discipline is that disciplined people feel disciplined. They do not. They feel resistance just like everyone else. The difference is that they do not negotiate with resistance. They do not wait for the right mood. They act first, and motivation follows action, not the other way around. If you are waiting to feel ready, you will wait forever. Discipline begins before readiness. Discipline is showing up imperfectly. Discipline is doing the thing badly instead of not doing it at all. Another myth is that discipline requires intensity. In reality, intensity burns out quickly. Sustainability wins. Small actions repeated daily will outperform extreme actions done occasionally every single time. Discipline is boring by design, and that is its power. To build discipline, you must start by lowering the bar. This sounds counterintuitive, but it is essential. If your goal feels overwhelming, your brain will resist it. Discipline grows when success feels achievable. Commit to the smallest version of the habit that you will do even on your worst day. That is your baseline. If you want to exercise, commit to 5 minutes. If you want to write, commit to 1 paragraph. If you want to meditate, commit to 1 minute. Discipline is not built by heroic effort. It is built by keeping small promises consistently. Consistency rewires your identity. Each time you follow through, your brain updates its self-image. I am someone who shows up. I am someone who keeps going. I am someone I can trust. Identity-based discipline is far stronger than discipline based on fear or guilt. You also need to understand that discipline is not linear. Some days will feel easy. Some days will feel heavy. Missing a day does not mean you have failed. Quitting does. Discipline is not about never slipping. It is about returning quickly without drama or self-punishment. Self-punishment kills discipline. Shame makes habits fragile. Compassion makes them durable. When you miss a day, notice it, adjust, and continue. Do not turn one missed action into a story about who you are. Environment matters more than willpower. If you rely on willpower alone, you will eventually fail. Discipline is easier when your environment supports your goals. Remove friction from good habits and add friction to bad ones. Make the disciplined choice the easy choice. If you want to read more, keep a book visible. If you want to eat better, prepare food in advance. If you want to stop scrolling, keep your phone out of reach during focused time. Discipline is often about design, not effort. Discipline also requires clarity. Vague goals create weak discipline. Be specific. Not I want to be healthier, but I walk 20 minutes every morning. Not I want to be successful, but I spend one focused hour a day on my craft. Clear actions build clear discipline. You also need a reason. Discipline without meaning feels empty. Ask yourself why this matters. Not surface-level reasons, but deeper ones. What kind of person do you want to be? What kind of life are you building? Who benefits when you show up consistently? When discipline is connected to purpose, it becomes easier to sustain. There will be moments when discipline feels lonely, when others take shortcuts, when progress feels slow, when results are not visible yet. This is where most people quit. Discipline is choosing long-term alignment over short-term comfort. Results lag behind effort. Trust the process. Rest is part of discipline. Burnout is not discipline. Overworking is not discipline. Discipline includes knowing when to stop, when to recover, and when to protect your energy. Sustainable discipline honors the body and nervous system. You do not need to be extreme to be disciplined. You need to be honest. Honest about your limits. Honest about your patterns. Honest about what you can realistically maintain. Discipline that fits your life will outlast discipline that fights it. As this audio comes to a close, remember this. Discipline is not something you suddenly acquire. It is something you practice. Quietly, daily, imperfectly. Discipline is choosing yourself in small ways, over and over again. You do not need to become a different person. You need to become more consistent with who you already want to be. Start small, stay steady, build trust with yourself. That is discipline. Discipline deepens when you understand the emotional patterns that work against it. Most people do not lack discipline because they are lazy. They lack discipline because they avoid discomfort. The brain is wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. Discipline asks you to override that wiring gently, not aggressively. Each time you choose the slightly uncomfortable action that aligns with your values, you retrain your brain to tolerate discomfort without panic. Discomfort does not mean danger, it means growth. When you stop labeling discomfort as something to escape, it loses its power. Discipline becomes easier when you expect resistance instead of being surprised by it. Resistance is not a sign to stop. It is a sign you are doing something that matters. Many people sabotage discipline through all or nothing thinking. Either they do everything perfectly or they do nothing at all. This mindset destroys consistency. Discipline thrives in flexibility. Doing something small still counts. Showing up imperfectly still counts. Momentum is built through repetition, not perfection. Another common block to discipline is emotional fatigue. When life feels overwhelming, discipline can feel like another burden. This is where self-compassion matters most. Discipline does not mean pushing harder when you are depleted. It means adjusting expectations while staying aligned. Some days discipline looks like rest. Some days it looks like doing less with intention. Discipline also requires boundaries. If you say yes to everything, you will have no energy left for what matters most. Boundaries protect discipline. Saying no is not selfish. It is strategic. Every yes costs something. Discipline is choosing where your energy goes instead of letting it be drained by default. You may notice that discipline strengthens self-respect. Each time you follow through, you reinforce the belief that you matter. This creates internal stability. You stop looking outside yourself for validation because you trust your own actions. Discipline builds quiet confidence. There will be times when discipline feels unrewarded, when progress is invisible, when effort feels one-sided. This is normal. Results are delayed. Discipline is about planting seeds without immediate proof. Trust that what you repeat shapes your future, even when you cannot see it yet. Comparison can weaken discipline. Watching others move faster or achieve more can create discouragement, but discipline is personal. You are not building someone else's life. You are building yours. Stay focused on your lane. Consistency beats comparison every time. Discipline improves decision-making. When habits are established, you remove the need to decide repeatedly. This saves mental energy. Fewer decisions mean less fatigue. Structure creates freedom. Discipline simplifies life. You may think discipline limits spontaneity, but the opposite is true. When essentials are handled consistently, you have more space for creativity, play, and rest. Chaos limits freedom. Structure expands it. The discipline of routine stabilizes the nervous system. Predictability creates safety. When your body knows what to expect, stress decreases. This makes it easier to stay focused and calm. Discipline is regulating. There will be moments when you fall off track. This is not failure. The disciplined response is not self-criticism. It is recalibration. Notice what happened, adjust, continue. Discipline is resilient, not rigid. Discipline becomes powerful when it becomes identity-based. Instead of saying I am trying to be disciplined, say I am someone who follows through. Language matters. Identity shapes behavior. Behavior reinforces identity. Your environment can either support or sabotage discipline. Choose environments that align with your goals. Spend time with people who respect your commitments. Remove unnecessary distractions. Design your life to make discipline easier, not harder. Discipline does not require motivation, but motivation often follows discipline. Action creates momentum. Momentum creates motivation. Waiting reverses this order and leads to stagnation. You do not need to overhaul your life to become disciplined. You need to commit to consistency in a few key areas. Simplicity sustains discipline. Complexity exhausts it. As you practice discipline, you may notice resistance in others. Not everyone will understand your boundaries. Not everyone will support your consistency. Discipline sometimes requires disappointing people who benefit from your lack of boundaries. This is part of growth. Discipline teaches patience. It teaches you to value long-term alignment over immediate gratification. This patience spills into every area of life. Relationships improve, stress decreases, focus sharpens. Remember that discipline is not a destination. It is a way of moving through life. Some days you will do better than others. What matters is returning without judgment. As you continue listening, allow these ideas to settle without pressure. You do not need to apply everything at once. One small commitment is enough to begin. Discipline is not about becoming someone new. It is about honoring who you already want to be. And when you do that consistently, quietly, over time, your life changes. Discipline also reshapes your relationship with time. When you live without discipline, time feels slippery. Days blur together, weeks disappear. There is a constant sense of being behind. Discipline creates anchors in time. Simple routines give shape to your days. When your time has structure, your mind relaxes. You stop constantly reacting and start intentionally moving forward. Many people believe they do not have enough time, but in reality, they do not have clear priorities. Discipline is deciding in advance what matters most and protecting time for it. This removes decision fatigue. You no longer ask yourself every day whether you will do the thing. The decision has already been made. Discipline requires honesty about trade-offs. You cannot have everything. Every commitment costs time, energy, or focus. Discipline is choosing which costs you are willing to pay. Short-term comfort or long-term fulfillment. Ease now or stability later. These choices compound. One reason discipline feels hard is because modern life is designed to pull your attention away. Distraction is profitable. Focus is revolutionary. Discipline is the ability to reclaim your attention from systems designed to fragment it. Each time you choose focus, you strengthen this skill. Discipline is not about eliminating pleasure. It is about intentional pleasure. Mindless indulgence leaves you feeling empty. Chosen rest and enjoyment restore you. Discipline allows pleasure to be satisfying instead of numbing. You may notice that discipline changes how you handle emotions. Instead of reacting impulsively, you pause. You create space between feeling and action. This space is powerful. It gives you choice. Emotional discipline does not mean suppression. It means response rather than reaction. Discipline also builds resilience. When you practice doing hard things regularly, challenges feel less overwhelming. You trust your ability to handle discomfort. Confidence grows not from ease, but from repetition of effort. There will be seasons when discipline feels effortless and seasons when it feels heavy. This does not mean you are doing it wrong. Life moves in cycles. Discipline adapts. In demanding seasons, discipline may look like maintaining the basics. In lighter seasons, it may expand. Discipline is deeply connected to self-leadership. No one is coming to manage your life for you. Discipline is stepping into that role for yourself. It is not about control. It is about care. You lead yourself the way you would lead someone you love. You may find that discipline brings clarity to your values. When you commit to consistent action, you quickly see what truly matters to you and what does not. This clarity simplifies decision-making. Fewer distractions, more alignment. Discipline reduces anxiety. Much anxiety comes from avoidance and unfinished tasks. When you consistently take small steps forward, the weight of avoidance lifts. Progress, even slow progress, calms the nervous system. You may also notice that discipline improves your relationships. You become more reliable, more present, more grounded. You communicate boundaries more clearly. Trust deepens when your actions match your words. Discipline does not mean rigidity. Life will interrupt your plans. Discipline is flexibility with direction. When plans change, you adjust without abandoning your values. You bend without breaking. The discipline of reflection is often overlooked. Taking time to review what is working and what is not prevents burnout. Discipline includes awareness. Adjustments keep discipline sustainable. One powerful practice is to build discipline around identity rather than outcomes. Focus on who you are becoming, not just what you are achieving. Outcomes fluctuate, identity endures. You may notice that as discipline strengthens, you experience less internal conflict. Decisions feel cleaner. You spend less time negotiating with yourself. Mental energy is freed for creativity, connection, and rest. Discipline is not loud. It does not announce itself. It is quiet, consistent, and often invisible. Its effects, however, are profound. Over time, disciplined action reshapes your life in ways that feel almost effortless in hindsight. As we approach the closing of this audiobook, take a moment to reflect. Not on everything you could change, but on one small commitment you are willing to make. Something simple, something doable, something you can keep. Discipline begins there. As this listening experience begins to settle, it is important to remember that discipline is not something you suddenly master. It is something you return to again and again. There will be days when it feels natural and days when it feels distant. Both are part of the process. Discipline is not measured by how you feel, but by whether you gently come back to what matters. Discipline teaches you to sit with discomfort without making it mean something about you. The urge to quit, delay, or avoid will still appear. That urge is not failure. It is simply a sensation. When you learn to observe it without acting on it, you gain freedom. You realize that you are not controlled by every impulse. One of the most powerful shifts discipline creates is internal stability. You stop relying on external motivation or validation. You trust yourself because you have evidence. You have followed through before. You know you can do it again. This trust is deeply grounding. Discipline also helps clarify what is truly essential. When your time and energy are limited, you choose more carefully. You stop chasing everything and start committing to what aligns with your values. This simplicity brings peace. There may be moments when discipline asks you to disappoint others in order to honor yourself. This can feel uncomfortable at first, but over time, you learn that self-respect is built through alignment, not approval. Discipline strengthens your ability to stand by your choices. You may notice that the more disciplined you become, the less dramatic life feels. Crises feel smaller, setbacks feel manageable. You respond instead of react. This steadiness is one of the greatest gifts discipline offers. Discipline also deepens self-compassion. When you understand how effort, energy, and emotion interact, you stop demanding perfection. You learn how to support yourself through difficulty rather than pushing through at all costs. Remember that discipline is not about denying pleasure. It is about choosing pleasures that restore rather than deplete you. Rest, movement, creativity, and connection are all part of a disciplined life. Balance sustains discipline. As you move forward, consider checking in with yourself regularly. What is working? What feels heavy? What needs adjustment? Discipline evolves with you. It is not static. You do not need to overhaul your life after this audio ends. You only need to begin where you are. One small habit, one clear boundary, one daily action aligned with your values. That is enough. Discipline is built quietly in moments no one sees. In the decision to begin, in the decision to continue, in the decision to return after slipping. These moments accumulate. Over time, they reshape your life. As this audiobook comes to a close, take a final breath. Let go of pressure. Let go of expectations. Carry only what feels supportive. Discipline is not a burden you carry. It is a foundation you stand on. You are capable of consistency. You are capable of growth. You are capable of honoring yourself through action. Thank you for listening. This has been Empower Audio. And remember, discipline is not about control. It is about choosing alignment, one small step at a time. Before you return to your day, allow a moment of stillness, not to think about discipline, but to feel what it means in your body. Discipline is not tension, it is not bracing, it is steadiness. It is the feeling of being rooted rather than rushed. Let your breath settle into that steadiness now. Notice how different discipline feels when it is framed as care rather than control. Control tightens, care supports. Discipline practiced as care asks a simple question again and again. What supports the version of me I am becoming? When discipline comes from this place, it does not feel punishing, it feels grounding. You may realize that discipline is already present in parts of your life. Perhaps you show up for others consistently. Perhaps you maintain certain routines without struggle. This matters. Discipline is not something you lack. It is something you can redirect toward yourself. Many people believe discipline must feel hard to be real, but ease is not the enemy of discipline. Avoidance is. Discipline can feel calm, it can feel neutral, it can even feel satisfying. The goal is not to make things harder, but to make them more aligned. As you leave this audio, resist the urge to promise yourself too much. Big declarations often fade. Quiet commitments last. Choose one action that feels doable, one that you are willing to repeat even on days when motivation is low. Let discipline grow from repetition, not intensity. There will be moments when you question whether consistency is worth it. In those moments, remember that discipline is not about the outcome of a single day. It is about the direction of your life over time. Direction matters more than speed. If you miss a day, do not abandon yourself. Return the next day without drama. Discipline is resilient. It does not demand perfection. It asks for honesty and follow through. Over time, discipline becomes less about effort and more about identity. You stop asking whether you will do the thing. You simply do it because it is part of who you are. This shift happens quietly. You may not notice it at first, but one day you will look back and realize how much has changed. Discipline also teaches humility. It reminds you that progress takes time, that growth is gradual, that meaningful change is built, not rushed. This patience softens the way you relate to yourself and to others. You are allowed to build a life that supports you. You are allowed to choose consistency over chaos. You are allowed to protect your energy and your time. Discipline gives you permission to do so. As this audio ends, let the message be simple. You do not need to force your life into shape. You need to care for it consistently. Small actions done with intention create stability. Stability creates freedom. Carry this with you gently. There is nothing to prove, only something to practice. Thank you for staying until the end. This has been Empower Audio. And wherever you go from here, go steadily.